Actual game now. Despite the Giants' comeback, they couldn't get it done in a 38-35 loss. Cam and the Panthers stayed perfect. And according to Elias, he became the first player in NFL history with 5 TDs and 100 yards rushing in the same game. Unreal. Stephen A., did Cam now lock up MVP?
Well, listen, I don't want to say he locks up MVP because of this reason. And we alluded to today morning on Keisha. Tom Brady is playing too sensational in his own right. And with all that he's overcome with Deflategate and beyond, to have the kind of year that they're having, in order for Cam Newton to win the league MVP, the belief is either he sits down and doesn't play another game since they've secured the #1 seed in the NFC, or if he does play, he can't lose a game. If Cam Newton and the Carolina Panthers lose one of these final 2 games, Cam Newton is going to lose the MVP to Tom Brady.
They're at Atlanta and then Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
At Atlanta and they play Tampa.
Yeah.
You know, he's got to win both if he plays, or if he doesn't play, he can rest on his laurels here and hope that's enough. I believe that he's the league MVP. I believe he was nothing short of sensational. I believe that when you see Cam Newton running the football, over 300 yards passing, 5 TDs, rushing for over 100 yards, that's never been done. That's never been done. And once again, he put his excellence, his spectacular play on display. Now, obviously, he was on the field and he was a part of losing a 28-point lead, being up 35-7, and then letting the Giants come back. But all it did was set the stage for his semantics, for his heroics. And when you look at the Giants and Odell Beckham Jr. catching that last touchdown pass, the camera goes to the sideline, and you see Cam Newton just nodding his head like, all right, let's go.
Let's go.
It's like, okay, it's time.
Yeah.
Cam Newton, throughout this season, against Seattle, New Orleans, the Giants, big moments arrive, and this brother closes. And that, to me, is the ultimate ingredient to success. That, combined with perfection, to me, gives him the league MVP. But if he went out over the last 2 games and lost to Atlanta, lost to Tampa Bay, he loses. If he doesn't, and he plays the way he's been playing, he wins it.
This time, I agree with you. That was extremely fair, what you just said, how you presented it, how you put it in perspective. I am with you. I am going to go so far as to say Cam has caught Tom Brady, that it's a dead heat. But it's just beginning. Now we close to the wire, to the finish line, and it is going to be a great finish, and I am not ruling out Carson Palmer or Russell Wilson, because everybody's got some big games left, and they are all going to have the opportunities against worthy opponents in games that really, really impact the playoffs. They'll all have a chance to separate and win MVP. I'm not ruling out Tom Brady because, listen, yesterday, I know it was just Tennessee, but he goes 7 for 7 on his opening drive for a quick touchdown. Gronkowski had a bad day. He failed to hang on to 2 or even, you might even say 3 passes I thought he should have caught. Amendola is hurt again. I don't know his fate, but they're going to have a really hard time if he can't play at all at Jets, and that's coming up next Sunday at 1 o'clock. Yesterday, Tom Brady's primary running back was Joey Iaciffa.
Yep.
Joey Iaciffa? Are you kidding me? I'd never heard of him. I have some hardcore Patriot friends, Patriot-loving friends. They'd never heard of Iaciffa, who was elevated on the practice squad above Monte Ball into basically not really the starting lineup, but he became the primary ball carrier.
Right.
That's what Tom Brady is putting up with right now. No Amendola and Iaciffa. Really? And he still had, by my standards, a very good game. By his standards, maybe slightly below average, but still good enough. And remember, I don't want to be prisoner of the moment here because Tom Brady's first 8 or 9 games were just sensational, just as high a level as any quarterbacking I've ever watched in all my career. Cam Newton got off to a very slow start this year. I got 6 games here, whereas QBR was below average with a 42, a 49, a 20, a 50, a 28, and a 34.
Well, Brady went through a 4-game stretch later on where that was the case with him, too.
Okay, but in both the losses for the Patriots, Brady nearly pulled off miraculous comebacks. Remember this? At Denver and against Philly at home. He almost pulled it off. And you said, how did he do that with not many weapons at his disposal? Because he lost, obviously, Gronkowski at Denver and still almost pulled it off. Okay? Cam yesterday. Let's just be fair, and I'm picking nits here, but he did throw what could or should have been the pick six. And I thought, actually, for parts of the day, he was a little wild high, was Cam. Like, he was just a little off. He wasn't as accurate as I've seen him in the previous 3 games.
Well, he got hit early, too.
He got hit, and he got stung in his chest, in his ribs. And then his fumble, and it was attributed to him. I thought it was his fault because he tried to pull it back out from Cameron Artis-Payne. And that was 6:50 to go and set up a late touchdown by the Giants that got them back in the game. I'm picking nits here, but I'm just saying, I'm glad. I thought you would just jump to the conclusion, it's over, it's a lock, Cam's won it. I'm sitting back saying this could be as great an MVP close as we've ever seen.
It's even more heated now.
We didn't bring this up as a subject and a topic that we were going to broach today. And maybe we'll broach it at a later date. But based on what you just said, it's only fair to ask this question. Based on what you're saying, doesn't a call need to be made as to whether or not Cam Newton plays? Like, if you're Ron Rivera, I mean, you're undefeated. Do you go for it, run the table, or do you sit up there and watch the hits that took place yesterday, watch the violence in the game against the Giants, and say to yourself, we're trying to win a Super Bowl championship here. Do we go for it? It's a tough call.
I think he's going to play at Atlanta. I don't know about the last game.
I guess what I'm asking you is that, what do you do? What do you do?
Okay, I'll bet Cam will push to play at Atlanta, back in his hometown against the rivals.
And if you're coaching Cam, what do you do?
He was that yesterday, and then they needed him.
Well, I mean, they need to hold off Arizona, right? I mean, they have a 2-game lead.
They have a 2-game lead.
Yeah.
They have a 2-game lead.
I don't know how the tiebreakers
I think they will still end up the #1 seed. I'm not sure, but I'm just saying that's the question. Now, see, if you haven't secured the #1 seed, then it's an easy call.
Okay.
But if you have, what do you do? Because he got an MVP on the line, but it ain't about individual awards.
Okay.
Because the way they've been playing right now, it's Super Bowl or bust.
Then he could lose it, because if Brady puts on a show at Jets, or if Carson Palmer puts on 2 shows against Green Bay and Seattle at home, big games, right? Russell Wilson has St. Louis and at Arizona.
And Carolina loses.
Okay.
Because, see, to me, there's nothing to discuss if Carolina finishes 16-0. But if they lose a game or 2, that changes everything.
Yeah, okay.
Changes everything.
But fair to say, this MVP race got even more heated, and now it's no longer a 2-horse race. We have other names in there that we're going to have to consider. We'll continue to track that down the stretch, but meanwhile, Skip, let it go. I need to let it go, too. The Cowboys' playoff chances are officially over.
We don't have to let it go. We don't have to let it go just yet.
Thanks to the Jets, or maybe the officials. Don't miss Skip's take after the break, and Christmas week is officially here. We have plenty of gifts for you here at the desk. Head over to IG right now. I'll give you the complete rundown.